Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Konich-Yeehaw podcast. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Jared.
And on this episode, we wanted to talk about sad anime.
Yes.
Anime that makes you cry, gets you a little worked up, a little emotional. Now, before we push forward on this, I wanted to just say that a lot of what makes sad anime sad is death, people dying, people offing themselves, lots of depression. So if
some pretty triggering
things. So if that is not something that you want to hear about, I totally understand, because it's one of the reasons why I don't really look for sad anime. But you do like sad anime.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
I love sad anime. And I think the main reason why I like sad anime so much is because you get the most out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has the most like emotional range from like sad to happy, angry, all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
And sad anime in particular, like, just really hits me. Really hits me, you know?
Yeah,
like,
of course. It's supposed to hit you in the feels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, I like watching it so much because it's such a, like, it's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, for example, like, your average shonen. Like, your average shonen might have, like, sad parts in it,
Mm-hmm.
but there would be nothing, like, it will never hit as hard.
Just devastating.
As, like, a sad anime.
Yeah, and especially since, like, the way that, say, shonen and then sad anime are different, is that it's probably a lot more relatable than, shonen.
Oh, definitely.
Fighting, maybe action things. Like, it can be more relatable to watch a sad anime and actually kind of empathize with the characters and what they're going through.
Yeah.
So we have decided that there are like 3 sub-genres of sad anime.
Yeah.
There is first the truly sad anime.
Yeah. Sad. What I classify as a sad anime is something that that's the intention. Mm-hmm. So the intention is to be sad, and it also holds throughout the whole time. So there are shows that can be like have sad parts in it, but I wouldn't necessarily consider a sad anime.
Right. Then the other one that we decided was emotional.
Yeah.
Which can, I guess you could say, kind of be confusing. They're a little bit close, but usually emotional anime, the goal isn't to actually like make you sad.
Yeah.
Like 100%, it's not really its purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of the difference between like an anime that makes you sad versus an anime made for sad people.
Yes.
So like a good example of like an emotional anime would be like March Comes In Like a Lion.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, like, it's not like there's a bunch of like sad things necessarily happening. Like, I think there are like sad parts in it, obviously.
Yes.
But the main point of it is how people experience depression.
Right.
And so like that is a very emotional anime. It's, you're not necessarily supposed to get sad from it. Mm-hmm. I don't think. Obviously up for interpretation. Yeah. But like it is how to show sadness.
Yes. And then the third one was just disturbing.
Yes.
Which is more like it maybe has content that is, you consider it gross.
Yeah, it can make you sad.
It can make you sad. You can think of things maybe more like abusive or like more body horror related. But it's basically imagery that is disturbing, and it can make you sad. Not in the same way that like a horror, like horror disturbing, but like sad disturbing. Yeah. So those are kind of like the 3 genres of sad.
Yeah.
We're gonna be mostly talking about like the sad though.
Just before we go on, a good example of like disturbing sad would be like Made in Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a very, very sad. Like, the things that happen to the characters are sad,
Right.
because it is so shockingly disturbing,
Right.
that it is hard to watch
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily a sad anime. Like,
Right,
you don't get
yeah.
in your feels from it. You get disgusted.
Yeah, you get like you like grimace and you
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sad animes. We're gonna first start with movies because most sad animes are movies.
At least the most popular ones.
Most
I'd
the
say,
most
yeah.
popular ones, and I think it's because like people don't want to be sad for a whole season.
Yeah. It's also hard to be sad for a whole season.
Yes, like to write it.
Yeah.
To keep it up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like so most of the popular sad animes are movies.
Yeah.
Which also means that they look wonderful, have a
Yeah.
great budget. Just like a side note, they look great. So the first one we want to talk about is Your Name,
Yes.
which we felt the need to put on our sad anime list because if you look up top 10 animes that will make you cry, Your Name is always going to be on there.
Yeah.
But it's not really a sad anime.
Yeah. I wouldn't consider it a sad anime, considering it's a comedy for the most part.
It's for the most part a comedy. The premise is that a high school boy in Tokyo and a high school girl in the country
Yeah.
have like a body swap, like a Freaky Friday kind of body swap, where randomly they wake up and they're in each other's bodies. And for most of the movie, it's just comedy surrounding that. So them like having to write notes to each other to remind each other who their friends are and
Yeah.
to not say weird things to whoever. And
Family members.
family
like,
members. Yeah. So for the most part, it is a comedy. The sad part comes in later when spoilers
Yeah, we're gonna
for
be
the most
talking about
part.
spoilers
Yeah.
for in this.
for like all of this. Spoiler: it is revealed that the girl is dead,
Mhm.
and she died years ago in a meteor strike. So there's like some weird time
Yeah.
thing also happening. But I mean, she gets saved.
Yeah,
Like,
in the end, like,
everything is
he
fine.
saves the town and it's all good. It's emotional.
It's very emotional. I
Like,
shed a tear,
yeah.
but it wasn't like sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to mention it just because it's on like every list.
Right.
But for the most part, we would classify it as an emotional anime and not really a sad one. Next is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Yes, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is probably one of my favorite anime movies in general.
Yes.
Which I'm gonna say this right out, like, very candid. Watch it subbed. Watch it subbed.
Yes. So I watched it for the first time with you, dubbed, for this episode actually, because once again, I don't really look for sad anime, so I haven't actually seen. I had to do my research before this, right? We watched it dubbed, and the first 15 to 20 minutes was
It's so cringy.
so cringy.
It's so cringy. The writing is actually pretty bad. And the reason for that is that you don't really recognize that whenever you're reading it, opposed to, like, hearing it in your native language.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at the beginning, the girl, like, her like, everything that she says, literally everything, is like, well, I'm gonna die anyway, so.
Yes, and it was just something to see. So, premise, first of all, movie opens with this girl's funeral, so we know she's going to die,
Yeah.
right? It is known that she does not make it to the end of the movie. So it's about a high school boy, riveting, and who's really depressed, doesn't care about people, doesn't have any relations, like general relations with anybody in his school. Like his relations are with his family and that's it. And then, I'm sorry, our dog really doesn't like podcast time, so if you can hear him cry, It's because it's about sad anime. It's fitting. Um, so, and then there is a girl who is popular, energetic, happy, and she has pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And she hasn't told anybody. She is writing kind of like a little life book, a diary, but she's writing about her day-to-day experiences. And this depressed guy finds the diary. She kind of tries to start a conversation about it, but he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of about her trying to become friends with him in a very assertive way.
Yeah.
That is cringy.
Yeah. It's... I don't think it's necessarily bad.
No.
Like,
it's
I
not.
think it's an interesting look at, like... I think the character is interesting. The character combination is interesting.
Oh, for sure.
Because, like, the whole reason that she's, like, drawn towards him is because he doesn't care.
Yes.
And, like... So, she says this in the movie. She's like, yeah, everyone that I tell that, like, that I'm dying wants to, like, coddle me. And, like, doesn't let me do anything I want to do. While you let me just live my life.
Yeah.
And so
like
that's why I like being around you.
Yeah. With the people that she tells or has told in the past, it's like being around her makes other people sad because now they're thinking about death.
Yeah.
Right? And she doesn't want that. That's totally understandable. But he, like, doesn't care. like, at all.
You know what? Actually, I wanna come back to something you said earlier, or go back to something you said earlier, which is like revealing at the beginning that she dies.
Yes, I wanted to mention that because, I mean, essentially, they do become friends.
Yeah.
Just say that they become friends. Things happen, and they become friends. She has a little episode in the hospital.
Yeah.
But she's fine. And she's ready to return to normal life. Like, they're going to go meet up at a cafe to catch up. And then he gets stood up. And he's like, that's weird, right? Goes home. His parents are watching the news. Turns out, this is a big spoiler, guys, that she was stabbed to death. That she was murdered. And, of course, it's, like, heartbreaking, right? And it's really just shocking. Like, it's a twist. It's a twist. You know, you spend this whole movie thinking that, oh, when is she gonna die? When is she gonna die? And then she dies in the most unexpected way.
Yeah. So, did you like that they said that she was going to die? That you knew she was going to die at the very beginning?
I think at first I thought I wouldn't, but
Yeah.
I think because she died in the way that you are not expecting her to, it really works.
Yeah. I like it whenever they do that.
Right.
Whenever they, like,
because then it's like they're not holding you hostage in the whole situation. Like, throughout the whole movie of, like, are they gonna die?
Yeah.
Are they gonna make it? It's like, no, we're already gonna tell you right now that they're gonna die, but here's the story.
If I remember correctly, I think that they did the same thing or something similar in oh man, what's it called? The one where he plays violin. I mean,
Your Lie in April.
No, yes, Your Lie in April.
Your Lie in
I'm pretty
April.
sure they do that in Your Lie in April, and, like, it creates a suspense.
Yes,
because
you want to know when. When
yeah.
is it? When is the sadness really gonna come down?
Yeah,
right.
because, like, one thing that I like about it is that it's one of those, you know that they're not going to cliffhanger you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, this is going to have an end.
Right.
Because they've already shown you the end.
Right. So she does die. He is very sad, obviously. There's a funeral, etc., etc. But then he is given the journal that brought them together. It was, like, in her will to give him that, and she wrote notes to her friends in it and said, hey, like, I didn't tell any of my friends about my pancreatic cancer, so I'm gonna leave it up to you. She's like, it's up to you. And he does feel like at least her best friend needs to know the truth. Her best friend that doesn't like him. So, of course, there's, like, conflict there.
Mm-hmm.
But he tells the best friend. Best friend is obviously very mad. But it shows a little flash forward year later. Everything is fine. You know? It's a content ending. So.
Yes. Of the 3 movies that we're going to talk about, this one's probably my favorite for the sad genre.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite just in general of the 3.
It's a good movie. It's a very good movie.
Yeah. There's a turning point in it. So the first like 20 minutes of it is super cringy. But there's a scene where your favorite scene.
It's my favorite scene because I wrote it, but like it's fine.
Your favorite scene. That they're in a hotel room, one bed, let's get tipsy and
play truth or dare.
Dare. And then things get serious. He finds that she's like barely holding on.
Yes.
And then from that scene forward, it's like fantastic.
Yes, it's really good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's that one. Next movie is A Silent Voice, which is also really good. Also a really good movie.
It's so sad.
It is sad on another level.
Yes, it's sad in a different way.
It's sad in a very different way. It's sad in a way that's, for me, hard to watch.
So, spoiler, she doesn't die.
She doesn't die.
But that's a point in it. That's a point in it.
So, okay, the plot of this premise of this movie, well, I guess we should say with where it does start. It starts with a high school boy, shows him quitting his job, selling his stuff, paying back his mom for something we don't know yet. And of course, I mean, if you people can recognize the signs, these are the signs of someone who is getting ready to commit suicide. They're leaving behind all their possessions. They're getting rid of all their earthly possessions, essentially. Trying to set things right, quote unquote, before they leave. And so he is about to jump off a bridge, and then he gets distracted by kids playing in the courtyard nearby, and he doesn't. That's when the movie starts. Then we have a rewind, flashback, elementary school. Okay? Same boy. Same kid. And he is a bully. He's a little rascal. And he also gets bullied.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't get bullied until
right away.
He does something.
He doesn't get bullied right away, but that's also important though. And it is the second important character is a girl, and in elementary school she transfers into their class, and she's deaf. So she has a notebook, and she like has her little introduction where she's like, hi, I'm excited to be friends with you guys. I'm deaf. If you want to talk to me, I'll hand you this notebook, and we can like have conversations in it. And he bullies everybody.
Yeah.
I shouldn't just say it's him. Everybody bullies her so much.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to watch. They pick on her, they mock her, they like write mean things in the journal. And where it kind of like climaxes is they start to steal her hearing aids. So it becomes a game to like snatch her hearing aids out of her ears and destroy them. It's so hard to watch.
It is.
It's so hard to watch.
Is. It's like
really
difficult.
It's really difficult. And she's like, she's confused. Like, she doesn't really know what to make of what everybody's doing around her, So it climaxes to one day the boy, he snatches the hearing aids out of her, and it pops her eardrum, so she starts to bleed in one of her ears. And of course now she's like physically hurt. Like before we were just kind of like doing some emotional damage, but now she's physically hurt, she's bleeding. And now the teacher is involved, the principal's involved, and they're like, okay, who's doing it? They're like, the mother has called and said that she's lost 6 hearing aids while she's been at school here. What is happening? And everybody blames the boy. So he becomes the scapegoat because he's the one that ultimately got everybody in trouble.
Yeah.
And he, of course, is instantly like, wait a second, I wasn't the only one, though. But nobody is coming to help him. No one's going to tell the truth. And she's not going to tell the truth.
Okay. There's before we go on, there's a character that I want to talk about because it starts when they were kids. There's a girl, one of the characters is like what's
a mean girl.
No, I'm actually talking about a different girl.
Oh, the what? Which one?
So I'm talking about the girl that she's like gaslight gatekeep girl
the
boss.
blonde one?
The blonde one. That she like
she's gaslighted herself, man.
Yes. She like they're like, oh, well, you were picking on her. And then she, like, starts crying. She's like, I never picked on her,
I never said anything mean to her.
Even though she did.
She absolutely did.
And this also becomes a reoccurring thing whenever they're in high school, too, and they, like, reunite. She's like, I never did anything. And, like...
Everybody did something. Everybody absolutely bullied this girl. Except for one person.
Yeah.
There was one good person, and she moved away, sadly.
Yeah, because she got bullied.
Because she also got bullied for being nice to the deaf girl.
Yeah.
So, the boy gets scapegoated. The deaf girl transfers out of the school because, like, hello. Like, get her out of there. And then the boy starts to get bullied by everybody else for essentially getting them in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that ends. I guess the only other part is that his mother did try to reconcile with the girl's mother by paying for the hearing aids, which was a lot of money. A lot of money. And it is revealed that this girl's mother takes no shit. That's just kind of all I have to say about it. She's very protective. She's like, I never want to see your son again. Like, she's... it's... What happened to her daughter was awful. So, like, can't blame her. So... Then we fast back forward, right? Now we're in high school again. And essentially he seeks out this deaf girl because he's trying to make his amends, right? And he's really awkward now because he was bullied now, right?
Yeah, he was bullied, and then in junior high, one of his ex or former friends like spread around the rumor that he bullied someone so hard that they had to move away. So then his life just kind of like
nobody wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, nobody wanted to talk with him, and so then he got real bad like social anxiety and has completely blocked off the world.
Yeah, so now he's like an awkward kid.
Yeah, like
he used to be a little rascal, but now he's just like really awkward and shy and like doesn't like making eye contact and. Yeah. So he tries to reconnect with her. Of course, she's, at first really confused, right? She's like, oh, hi. I think she actually runs.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she runs, which, like, I would do too. Hello. But he does his, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he learned sign language.
Yeah, he does start learning sign. He's like, I'm sorry. I am hoping that... He says, I hope we can be friends, which is, of course, really ironic because that's all that she wanted in elementary school. And, look what happened. And then we go on this really complicated, emotional journey through several relationships in the anime. And I think that...
So through it, they try to reignite, like, the relations with the former... classmates. Some work, some don't.
Some work, some don't.
Basically, like, since he was the only one that was, like, ever took the fault for... Or he's the only one that had, like, repercussions for bullying her, the other kids like
They didn't learn their lesson.
Yeah, they didn't learn their lesson, so they still like want to bully her, especially one girl
in particular who I think shouldn't be forgiven, but like she has her little moment at the end, but whatever.
It's so insignificant though, and it's barely even like let's be friends. Yeah, no.
So yeah, the movie then shows them kind of reuniting, hanging out, trying to just like figure out where they are like with each other now. You know, because I mean, very obviously this girl was bullied at a very young age for something that she can't control, for her disability, and she grew up thinking that her disability made her unlikable.
Yeah.
Made her difficult to be around. Made her like. And she grew up hating herself.
Yeah, because she kind of saw herself as the problem.
Yeah, she saw herself as the problem. She was like, because everybody, whenever, like she would try to understand like, why can't we be friends? I mean, especially this mean girl. This mean girl was like, your notebook is stupid, and I don't want to talk to you. Like, yeah. Like, you know, there was just no effort. And so this girl grows up hating herself and does, at one point in the movie, try to commit suicide because of that, all the pent up feelings of growing up deaf and just being, like, totally just treated like shit. I mean, really. Yeah. But she is saved by the boy. He stops her, and it's a really complicated story. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is that while I think that I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is more enjoyable because the twist is like so shocking, it's kind of exciting. Yeah, this is so well written. Yeah, and a story that is, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, it really is.
It's hard to talk about. It's hard to see.
Yeah, there's really like nothing else like it.
No, there isn't.
Like, it is truly like such an amazing movie.
It's really good.
And I don't remember when it came out. Keep talking. I want to look something up.
Okay. Essentially, it ends with everybody kind of realizing that they were shit in elementary school, kind of not. They want to be friends, and the girl and the boy obviously both were in a very dark place at some point in this movie. Try to promise each other to continue to learn how to live, just like in general, how to be alive and be happy in the moment, how to create healthier relationships with other people.
Okay, this is what I thought. What? Your Name and A Silent Voice came out in the same year.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
I know. And I remember, because I am like, at the time, I was like a Your Name auntie. Like,
yeah, you were.
Like, I was like, no way, because I watched A Silent Voice, and I was like, this movie's way better.
And it is.
It really is.
It really is.
But like, it just didn't get the same like recognition. Yeah. And one of the reasons for that is because Your Name was like marketed.
Well, Your Name was a theatrical release.
Yeah. It got U.S. theatrical release.
Yeah, exactly. And A Silent Voice is a Netflix movie. Yeah. But it's really good.
Yeah, it's just so good. And I remember, I thought that they came out in the same year. I remember being like, man, this movie's so good. Like, oh, man.
Yeah. So, if you, like, really want to get sad, we recommend The Silent Voice.
Yeah. The Silent Voice, like I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, is definitely not just one of my favorite anime movies of all time. Definitely one of my favorite movies in general of all time.
Yes, really good stuff. All right, moving on to shows.
Yeah.
So, I don't watch a lot of sad shows. Mm-hmm. But one that I have watched and that has stuck with me is Wonder Egg Priority. Mm-hmm. So, Wonder Egg Priority has, like, the saddest plot.
Yes, it does.
It has the saddest plot, and I'll go ahead and say right now, it has kind of the most triggering plot. The story is of a girl who was bullied in school, right? Mm-hmm. Right? And she had one friend. And together they were getting through it. Like they were both kind of awkward, but they were getting through it together. Then her friend gets abused by a teacher, and this friend completes suicide, which leaves the girl, our main character, obviously devastated. Homeschool, like shut in, literally won't even step outside. Like, she doesn't know where to go anymore. She doesn't know what to do. Through some magical events, this is a kind of fantasy show, by the way. This is kind of a fantasy magical show. She finds an egg. What's up with that? She finds an egg. She cracks it. She opens it, and inside is a girl that she doesn't know, never seen before. And through this egg, she is transported to this girl's demise, kind of. Essentially, the girl who is in the egg is someone who has also completed suicide. And our main character is told to protect her from her, I guess you could say, like, quote-unquote demons. Like, the reason why... The monstrous manifestation. Remember, this is, like, kind of fantasy-ish now, right?
Yeah.
So the manifestation of the reason why this random young girl has killed herself. And to protect her from it. And to kind of save her from it. And if she does that successfully, then she kind of, like, gets points. There's like a point system. So basically, it is revealed after this, like, epic, weird battle that if she keeps doing this, if she keeps helping these random girls, because they're all girls, if she keeps helping these random girls kind of face their demons, face their monsters, protect them from their monsters, then eventually she can bring the friend that killed themselves back to life. So that's that's like what the show is.
Yeah.
And
it's really good. There are other girls who also have friends that have killed themselves, and they all bond over it.
Yeah, and they all bond over it, and they're all also working to bring these people back to life.
Yeah.
By fighting the demons of the ones that have already who have also passed. Yeah. And like I said, it gets really triggering because every single time that they get an egg open and they meet a new girl, she's revealing her trauma of why,
Not to mention the main characters also have their own separate trauma.
The main characters have their own separate traumas. I know one of the characters, like, she was the reason the friend died. Like these all have very, like, very sad, very complicated relationships with the people who are dead. And
we mentioned this show in the last episode.
Yeah, because it is, like, really hard. What's, like, we can recommend, it's really hard to recommend, but it's really interesting.
It's really good.
It's really interesting because it's not only obviously it's sad because of the premise itself is very sad, but you get some action in there too, right? So you kind of get to break it up a little bit, and I don't know if they're going to continue it. There's only one season right now, and we got a movie that didn't really reveal anything.
Yeah.
But basically the ending gets really weird and kind of confusing as far as, like, whenever they do actually get to bring their friends back to life. I think there's some, like, they don't know who they are anymore. Like, like, they don't recognize their friend anymore and things like that. But very good anime. Our next one was Madoka.
Yeah, so Wonder Egg Priority definitely influenced by Madoka. Madoka is like... So, Madoka Magica is like the show that... it's like a pioneer show in the magical girl gets dark. It also is one of the shows that, like, I don't know if we've ever said this on the podcast before, but, like, the rule of 3. So, like, the first 3 episodes, if you judge a show based off of the first 3 episodes.
You might have mentioned it before in the past.
But, like, that is, like, the show that, like, cemented that. So it is a very sad show. However, it does have like its happy ending ish. It is a happy ending in the end, like, but throughout the whole show, it's like, oh, these girls are like depressed. They have all their own trauma, and just like in the same vein of they are like they got a wish.
Right.
And so the plot is that magical girls exist. You make a wish, or girls get to make a wish, and after they make that wish, then they get magical girl powers, and they have to fight witches. And these witches bring demise to the world around them. So things like that happen, and it has a good ending. It also has a movie that takes place after the show that makes it a bad ending. So it Evangelions it of like, oh, it was a happy ending, and then we made it a bad ending.
No. All right, and then we got Your Lie in April.
Yeah, I brought this up earlier.
A little bit, yeah.
It's another show where there's a guy that is depressed and doesn't appreciate life, and then there's a girl that's dying that really appreciates life, and then she shows him how to appreciate life and have a good life again, and then
there's also music somewhere in there.
Yeah, there's also music. The whole premise is that he fell out of love with playing piano. It has to do with like trauma with his mom, if I remember correctly. And then she is like this violin prodigy, and they play together, and he just learns to enjoy music again, and life and things like that.
Right, yeah. And then the last one that I have written down is Kotaro Lives Alone. Because, okay, so this is on Netflix, and if you guys are people who peruse animes on Netflix, maybe you've seen it and you're like, oh, that looks cute. Because it looks cute. It looks cute. You wouldn't think it's sad. Because Kotaro lives alone. Kotaro is a little boy. And he does live alone. He lives in his own little apartment unit, and it's about him and his neighbors. And them just like being neighbors. Yeah. Because he's like a kid. He's like a toddler. And you might think, oh, haha, like toddler acts like adult. That's funny. But then you get the trauma. Yeah. And then you get with the trauma, and the trauma is that both his parents are dead and he doesn't know it. And his mom had really bad postpartum depression, and also the characters in the hotel in the apartment building are also sad for their own reasons. And they're all just trying to take care of each other. And it's sweet, but definitely has its moment where you're like, oh, this is sad. Yeah. Oh, this is really sad, actually. Yeah. It gets you. It gets you.
It really does.
You think it's going to be cute, and then they hit you with all that sad shit. Yeah, I think that's all that we had to talk about, though.
Yeah, for sad... Oh, no. There is one more thing to talk about, and that's the honorable mention of Grave of the Fireflies. Right. So Grave of the Fireflies is the sad anime.
It's the sad anime.
Like, it is probably like the #1 sad anime ever made. It is so sad that we refuse to watch it.
Yeah.
Because
we don't need that.
It is like, I know how sad it gets, and I don't want to experience that, because that's like actual sad. That's not like fun, like we have a cute relationship together, we're building a relationship. It's like real, based off real events sad.
Yes. So this was this is a Miyazaki film. Yeah. And it is, I mean, it's not his personal story. I'm not trying to insinuate that it is, but I have mentioned on the podcast before that he is a survivor of World War II, and that, I mean, the River of the Fireflies is about World War II.
Yeah, it's about orphans I won't say surviving. It's orphans getting through.
They don't survive.
Yeah, it's orphans living during World War II and like the firebombing and things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna watch it anytime soon.
Yeah.
If ever. I don't know. Maybe eventually. But
maybe I feel like it's a movie that I need to watch.
Right.
Like I feel like I am obligated to watch it.
Yeah, and then I guess like kind of the last thing that I wanted to say is that I definitely notice in a lot of these sad animes that it tends to be boy with depression and then girl who is sick but happy.
Yeah.
And that dynamic is sometimes kind of questionable to me because, like, I don't know, it kind of like paints women or girls or whatever you want to say as like fixers, like as if no matter what's happening in their life, like they're supposed to still be happy or at least like content to some way, and then also still have the energy to like teach somebody else to do that.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I think that the main reason they do it for that is just because of like the dynamic difference of like male, female, sad, happy, like living, dying. But like I get what you mean.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, where is my sad girl?
Yeah, which I will say this. I can think of one show where it's the opposite of that, and that's the Monogatari series.
Okay.
Like, that entire show is about sad girls who have something wrong with them. Usually, supernatural, typically.
Okay, yeah.
And then one boy that also has something wrong with him, but he helps save them all.
Right,
he helps
right.
save them all. But I can't really think of
many others.
Yeah,
the only other one that, I mean, it kind of works with Wonder Egg, but it's because they're all girls.
Right.
So it's this idea, this kind of, I guess you can think of it as empowering, like girls help girls. You know, if you're strong enough to help somebody you don't know, then you can help yourself and the ones that you do know, kind of thing. But yeah, I just think that's interesting. I just wanted to point it out. But I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this sad episode of the Konich-Yeehaw podcast. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Jared.
And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.